Usually I buy a laptop. I use it for probably about a week or so, do my review, get my thoughts, gather it together, and then I move it on to the next person. If I bought it myself, usually I sell it to somebody. If it's a review unit, obviously it goes back to the company that sent it to me. This one here I bought myself. I actually imported this from AliExpress on, I think it's their spring sale. I can't remember the name of it, off a really reputable seller. This is the Lenovo Ideapad 5 Pro for 2024. In China, they call it the Xiaoxin. As it stands right now, this specific model and configuration is not available in North America, not in Canada or the US, which is very unfortunate because you're going to see in this review, this laptop is absolutely outstanding. I got sucked into this laptop and I've been using it as a daily driver for at least 3 weeks, I think maybe a month now. And I am very painfully moving this laptop on to a friend because I just need to keep things going in terms of reviews. But this laptop is truly outstanding. You will see in this review why. I mean, I don't need to do too much preamble about what it is, but this is an actual MacBook killer. This is not a thumbnail where you put it on the thing and you say, it's a MacBook killer, but it's like not. This is an actual MacBook killer, like legitimately. So if you're looking for a Windows-based machine that offers everything that a Mac offers other than obviously Mac OS, this is the laptop. This is the one right here. Unfortunately, you can't buy it in North America, at least right now. So we're going to jump into this review. I really hope that from this review, people realize how awesome this laptop, and specifically Lenovo, you realize that us Canadians and Americans want this laptop. Okay, and here it is, the laptop from China Direct. They go by the name like Yoga sometimes now, but it's like an Ideapad Pro, I guess would be the proper thing. But this model is not available in Canada. You can get a very, very similar model of this, like the same laptop, but it doesn't come with 32 gigabytes of RAM. You just can't get it. It's not available. The charger here, the only negative, I guess I'd say, is that, USB-C charger, and then it has this style here, which I'll just get a little adapter for it. Lenovo 100-watt charger, but it's not for North America. So I'll just get into that. I mean, I have chargers all over the place, but I'll just get a little thing that pops on there and you're good to go. So this is the laptop here. Again, the Canadian version, American, European version, I guess would be like an Ideapad Pro to this here. You can see here, it's an all metal chassis, very, very premium. It's kind of like the ThinkPad, kind of like the ThinkBook, not quite like the ThinkBook. It's not exactly the same as the Yoga 14-inch. It's something a little bit different than both of them. On the right side here, microphone, headphone combo jack, full-size SD card, 2 USB-A, one with always on. Left side, HDMI. I didn't realize it had HDMI. That's really nice, actually. And 2 more USB-C, and those would be really nice there. Nothing on the back except cleanliness. On the bottom here, down angular firing speakers. They should hopefully sound pretty good. Big intake there, fan there, and there'll be like a kind of felt pad there, is my guess. Inside, look at that glare. It's a shiny OLED. Oh, it's already ready to go. So you got that there. This is the Xiaoxin logo, whatever. Sliding camera. Ooh, they set it up for me because they went in English. So they do warn you when you buy the laptop. It's in the information. They say we will be opening the laptop. We will be, doing the English ROM. You can always reinstall Windows. It doesn't really matter. But we'll be doing an English ROM for you, and then we'll seal it back up and send it off. And these guys have very high ratings. They were very communicative. I had no issues with them whatsoever. They were very, very communicative in terms of shipping. And it was even during their spring sale. So the price was really good. I'm sure they got lambasted with, requests and that. So yeah, everything looks good here on the inside. Before we get into the hardware and specs and that, we can definitely open it up. But we can see here, the design language of the laptop here is really premium, very premium, all metal here. It has that kind of cut-out, smooth, textured trackpad, kind of like the ThinkBook 16p, very premium. Actually, it kind of looks like a ThinkBook 16p, even though it's not a ThinkBook. Speaker there, power on there. Nice keyboard-looking keyboard. It's got the shiny gray style, which I like. Very, very, very sleek there. So, and then you get your camera bump out. Not a huge notch actually at the top, just a little bit with the camera bump out there. Hopefully it's a good camera. Okay, let's open it up. So easy enough screws. You do have to use the star style screwdriver that Ideapads and ThinkBooks use. Okay, so I went to the back corner here. I just basically kind of gave the laptop just a little bit of flex, and then I was able to get that in there. The front is way too embedded. It's like very, very tight. Go in like that. Okay, it's going to have a little bit of, probably a little thing in the middle. There we go. So the bottom is all metal, very thin metal, but nice and premium. Heat sink there. You get a little bit of a thermal pad there. That's just to block the air so that it goes with those two there. And there is a look inside of the laptop. Very premium inside. It's going to be mirroring what you'd get in the Yoga 9i. So you can see those fans there. They're very, very dense. Nice curvature to them. They have that new style where they kind of are a little lower in the middle and they go up a little bit on the outside. I found that I don't know if it increases cooling, but it just keeps them quieter. That's fine. Dual heat pipe here. This is only for the integrated graphic. This is only for the 8845HS. So I suspect that this is going to run very cool because 8845HS does not run hot. 8845 does not run hot as it is. And then you have a dual heat pipe, dual fan setup. This thing's going to probably run super cool. But if you had the model with dedicated graphics, you can see here that would basically plop right in here. That's quite literally, you can see where the chip would be. So if you had a 4050 model or whatever, it would go in there. The NVMe is right over here. You can see that it does actually have this kind of pad thing blocking. That's weird. That's where the, it's like a rubber structure pad there. But you can see that there actually is the ability to take this 2242, it's a 2242 size, but you can see that there's actually a slot over here. So I guess you could take this out, put that over there, and then you could put in a full size 2280 rather than the 2242, which I might do a little bit later. We'll see. Wi-Fi over here that is upgradable, and then you get really nice big speakers here, assuming that this is going to have really good sound as well. Battery is actually quite big on this for the size of it. 84 watt hours on a 14-inch laptop. That's crazy, especially with this CPU here, the 8845HS. This thing should last super long time for a 14-inch laptop. We're talking like serious all-day battery, so we'll see that there. So just make sure you get the amount of RAM that you want because this is non-upgradable. As you can see here, you basically get the RAM you want. That's why I got the 32 gigabytes. The SSD is upgradable, 2242 at stock, but you can probably swap that out. You'd have to take this little rubber pad. Okay, so I took off this little cube here. That's for basically structure. It doesn't need to be there. It'll basically just prevent pressing on the motherboard. So we'll just take that off for now. Set it over there. Now, the NVMe kind of lockdown thing screws in there. There isn't actually a hole under there to screw it into. Like maybe some of these, this motherboard probably has other uses, right? It's not the same for every single device, but so what I'm going to do here is put this in. This is a 4 terabyte. Okay, and it does have enough room to sit. It's a one-sided 4 terabyte. Two-sided would definitely not work unless the chips were up on the top there. So that does sit down there. Okay, it does sit on top of this connector, right? In theory, the laptop base will push that down. There's a little bit of sticky there. I could put some tape or something, but this actually has a little bit of adhesion on it. I'm probably going to just maybe put like a little tiny little thermal pad on it. Yeah, you can see that there, put the thermal pad on. I'm just going to put this on here just real quick. Oh yeah, there's going to be lots of room. And you may have to add a little bit more depending how thick that needs to be so that it presses down. Because you're definitely going to want it to, press down. Otherwise, it's going to be flopping up like that. I kind of do want this to still be there, just because for structure. So, you could do something like this here, unless you're going to avoid your warrant. Don't cut that. I mean, you could do this if you wanted, but don't cut that. They probably won't like that. Yeah, so just something like that. Right? I could put a little piece of tape on there on the back of the NVMe, if need be, if it doesn't stay down. But I don't think we're going to have problems with connection there. Okay, I decided to take off the cooling. I was dumb and I took off the screws from the fans here. You don't have to do that. You can just take off the screws around the cooling, the actual heat pipes here, and then that just comes right up. So there's some screws under here, 1, 2, right? The rubber thing is, you just stretch it out. You don't have to take this 1, 2, 3, 4. I just did it, whatever. It's not a big deal. Put them back in, but just so you know, you don't have to take those out. There is some tape over there. Slide this out. I'm going to try to pick it up straight because there's obviously a thermal pad there. Okay, go like that there. Slide this out. Let's have a look. So I just tore that thermal pad. That's no big deal. So thermal pad there on the chips there. Is that the... I'm not sure. Those are VRMs. The RAMs there, which is actually, they're not covered. They're touching the metal here. In theory, though, come off. You could always add some thermal putty if you wanted. That'd probably be pretty cool. No big deal though. The actual CPU has nice, good paste on it, but it is paste. Thermal paste is fine. Okay, let's listen to the audio here. It's going to get reasonably loud, so I'd probably mind your headphones. Yeah, so this is in the future now. I don't know if you can tell. It's like, I don't know, 3 weeks or a month later or something like that. I've been using this laptop for a long time. I've been using it as my daily driver, so that's a bit of a spoiler here. The audio is fantastic. It doesn't have huge amounts of very low end bass, like the absolute lowest end bass. Still there, but it's not like dominant or prominent. Mid-range bass is dominant, and it's lots of it. The actual mid-range and high range as well are also very clear, precise, and great. They're well-tuned speakers as well. So this is going to be a very nice laptop in terms of audio. If you're listening to music, watching shows, it's very nice. Been using this laptop for a long time now as a daily driver. It's an outstanding screen. I've actually done a full comparison between this and the Ideapad Pro 16-inch, so the 16-inch brother of this. Yeah, it's such a nice screen. It is such a nice screen. It's beautiful to look at. It has great color range. It's an OLED, so like, I don't know if the camera will show, but these are absolute blacks. Like the screen is off in those spots, so it's super dark and rich. Switching between this and even my other OLED, like I have a ThinkPad 14. I have a ThinkPad P1 that's also an OLED, but it's a non-glossy OLED. Of course, it's non-glossy. The disadvantage here is it's glossy. It's not super glossy. I've used glossier screens, but it definitely is glossy. And that gloss does actually increase the richness of the screen. This is a very nice screen. It's also 120 hertz refresh rate. So, I mean, this is like, you know, the type of screen you'd want to get on like a gaming laptop or something like that. It's really nice. That does also help when it comes to productivity tasks, because when you move things around, it's so crisp. It won't show up on camera because mine only records at 60 frames per second, but this screen is basically displaying at 120 hertz or like 120 frames per second. Very good. Not oversaturated though. Lenovo actually calibrates their stuff. When you use a non-calibrated screen and then you come to a calibrated screen with good color space, the reds almost seem like they're oversaturated on a 100% DCI-P. It's just that there's more reds being displayed, basically. You can go further into the red color space. Other than the fact that this laptop is super premium in all ways, you're probably also getting it because the screen is just truly outstanding. Like, it's such a rich screen. This would rival like the mini LED on the Yoga 9i Pro, which is a lot. That's a very good screen. I think my thumbnail talks about how it's like the nicest screen ever. This is as good. We'll put it that way. So yeah. So media consumption in general, the screen is an actual 10 out of 10. Okay, here is the camera on the device here. I've actually done a few meetings on this laptop already, and the camera is great. It's going to be a professional level laptop, high level professional level laptop. You'd expect it to have a very good camera. I didn't use a microphone or anything like that when I was doing the video conferencing, so it seemed to be pretty good. And I mean, based on this recording right here, it does look quite good, actually. I have decent lighting in this room. It's not outstanding. It really is balancing it out quite a bit. It looks quite fresh, and it's not oversaturating me or anything like that, or undersaturating. So very good camera, all things. So very good camera, as you expect from a laptop of this caliber. Benchmark results here. So Wi-Fi is quite fast. We're looking at a little over 600 or so, which is about as fast as my Wi-Fi can go, so very fast. We can see here in Cinebench, we did get very, very momentary throttling, and then basically the fans just turn up slightly and there's no throttling whatsoever. And surprisingly, the fans actually run very quiet despite that. Performance here is actually really good too. We're getting around 16,000. And considering this is a very thin 14-inch laptop, that's actually very good scores, the type of scores you'd normally see on a gaming laptop, to be honest. The SSD that was included, the 1 terabyte Western Digital SM740, obviously a very good SSD, especially for a 2242 size, 5,000 megabytes a second or so. Battery life here is where things start to get absolutely outstanding on this laptop. You can see here that about 96% performance. Remember, I was using this laptop for about a month, so I did validate this over time. On idle, kind of just hanging out, not really doing much whatsoever, you're going to get 18 to 20 hours out of this laptop. And again, this is on full brightness. I don't turn my brightness down, turn off my Wi-Fi and that kind of thing. Just browsing the internet, messing around, doing some casual browsing, shopping, that kind of stuff. It was still giving me about 12 or 13 or even 14 hours. That is crazy for a Windows laptop, especially such a small one. And then watching 1080p 60 YouTube, I was still getting 10 to 12 hours of battery life. That is outstanding. So this is realistically the best battery life I've ever used on a Windows laptop in my entire life, despite the fact that it's a fairly small laptop. So absolutely outstanding on that battery life there. Game testing time. Baldur's Gate 3, 1200p, medium, not low, with the lightest FSR. And yeah, how does 50 to 60 FPS sound? 50 in areas like this, it'll go down. If you go to a big city, when you come into areas like this indoors, it'll go up, right? 67, right? Yeah, and that's the thing here. I mean, when you get into these 8845 HS processors, you're getting above Legion Go, above ROG Ally performance. And why do I say that? And way above Steam Deck performance. Why do I say that? Well, those the Z1 Extreme is technically a 7840U processor, which can use watts, but not as many. This one here, the 8845 HS processor, you can see here can use more watts, 60 watts. So that means more performance. You get a little bit more raw performance than ROG Ally and Steam Deck, and it'll just perform better, right? You'll lose a little bit more watts, but that's fine. It's a laptop, right? If you're on, if you're playing on battery or something, you can just lower the watts down, put it in a balance mode or something. But yeah, you can see here it's going to be very playable, right? I don't have it turned down to 800p with, ultra performance, FSR or anything like that. This is a respectable setting here, and it's giving us respectable performance, right? That's what's important here to note. You don't need to absolutely lower the performance down to the point where it's kind of laughable. You can actually get good performance on this type of chip here. So yeah, I mean, you get to the point here where these AMD systems are, they're gaming devices, right? They don't have a dedicated graphics at all, but the AMD iGPUs are becoming so performant that it's a gaming laptop, right? It's going to be slightly better performance than you get on some of these gaming handhelds, right? So, I mean, yeah, this is an Ultrabook that you can use for day-to-day use, professional use, and then game on it. Like I said earlier, I've been using this laptop for 3 weeks at least, maybe 4, but at least 3 weeks. And yeah, of course I'm doing gaming on it. I've been playing Baldur's Gate. I played quite a bit. I played with oops, I did the wrong thing there. I played with my brother, did some online stuff with this. I mean, it's not trivial what you can do with these here. This is not an easy to run game, by the way. This game is hard to run because it uses a lot of CPU and GPU at the same time. So iGPUs like this system here really get hit, because you can see here, I mean, GPU's at 100%, and that CPU 45%. It's also hitting single cores a little bit, meaning it's actually getting hit pretty hard here. So you're going to get really respectable performance in demanding games like this. Okay, so it's basically 3-ish weeks later. I've been using this laptop as my daily driver. Normally I try not to do that. I usually try to move through laptops relatively quickly. But let me tell you, this laptop is so nice that I basically got sucked right into it. The only real negative that I see with this laptop here, at least in North America, is that you can't buy this exact specification. It's very difficult or impossible right now to buy 32 gigabytes of RAM, which I highly recommend when it's soldered and using an iGPU with that beautiful OLED screen. So basically you're importing it, which has its own negatives, warranties, and that can be a little challenging when it comes to importing a laptop from another country and then using it in your country. However, I mean, it's such a robust, amazing machine. The price was outstanding for me. But if they bring this model to North America, honestly, if they bring this exact model to North America with the OLED screen and the 32 gigabytes, you should buy it. It is an outstanding laptop, absolutely fantastic. The only real negative, I would say, of the actual laptop itself is when you look at the internals, there's only one NVMe slot. I really would like to see 2. The ThinkBook 14 Plus has 2 NVMe slots inside. It's the same size. Or at least give us a 2280 size slot, not a 2242. That's just kind of dumb, to be honest. I mean, you can get 2 terabytes from that reasonably easily, and you can see that I put in a 2280. I just put it in. It worked fine. But, I really would like to see the fact that there's dual storage in these type of devices. These are high level, professional level laptops. I mean, you can use them as a student, you can use them as whatever, you're basically just as a daily driver, because it's such a nice laptop. But I think this laptop is so nice that it's really going to appeal towards people who are doing graphic design, people who are doing content creation, video editing. And these type of people, like me, for example, it's very easy to fill up SSD if you're doing 4K video editing very fast. Fortunately, it does have Thunderbolt 4. So, I mean, most of the time, honestly, I just use the Thunderbolt 4 and I have a Thunderbolt 4 dock and I did all my video editing off of that. No problems whatsoever. Having Thunderbolt 4 on a laptop like this is an outstanding choice. I would really like to see Lenovo bring this exact SKU. This SKU, just bring it to North America. It's not that hard. Put them in a box and ship them to North America and they will fly off the shelves, because this thing right here is an actual Mac killer, an actual Mac killer. It has crazy good battery life, an outstanding screen, super portable, tons of performance. You can game on it because of the Intel. You can game on it because of the AMD graphics. Of course, you can just hook up an eGPU as well. But this is an actual legitimate Mac killer.